As you all know, Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary is fast approaching. It should be no secret that it's my preferred Disney resort. And despite how much we've discussed already, there's so much more history to uncover. Today is a different case. We're not talking about a ride. We're not even talking about something in the park. We'll be talking about a piece of artwork. If you've ever been to the Magic Kingdom, you might have spent a little time at Disney's Contemporary Resort. This was one of the first resort hotels to open on property, and was there when it opened all the way back in 1971. The theme is simple. It's a modern-for-the-time hotel with modern-for-the-time designs. Not only does a monorail run straight through it, but you can walk to the Magic Kingdom in only a few minutes. It's one of the most popular and sought-after hotels on Disney property. But you don't have to be a guest to walk around and enjoy it. And chances are, if you've ever set foot inside of it, you've seen this mural, the Grand Canyon Concourse. It's one of the most famous pieces of artwork on Disney property, and you can see why. It's big, it's colorful, and it has all of the classic charm you'd expect from Disney. But how did it come to be? Well, stand clear of the door and please remain seated as we learn about it together. Before we can talk about the mural, we have to talk about the woman behind it. Mary Blair was a prominent artist at the Disney Studios, working from the 40s through the 50s. She studied fine arts before going into animation, joining Walt Disney Productions in 1939. She was a color stylist, making paintings for animated projects. In 1941, she joined other Disney artists on a trip through Latin America as a part of the Good Neighbor policy to enforce positive relationships with Central and South American countries. Her watercolor paintings were so beautiful and evocative that she was made the art director for the films Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros, which came from these strips. At a time where women at the studio were mostly relegated to the ink and paint department, this was a huge deal. This started a long career working on pretty much every big Disney animated film you can think of from this era. Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Ichabod and Mr. Toad, you name it, she worked on it. Her fine arts background led to a very modern look to her drawings, experimenting with bold colors and strong shapes, stuff that other artists at the studios wouldn't have even thought to do. Animator Frank Thomas once said of her, "Mary was the first artist I knew of to have different shades of red next to each other. You just didn't do that, but Mary made it work." Anytime you rewatch an old Disney animated movie and see bright, vivid colors, you have her to thank. She left Disney in the 50s to freelance as a children's book artist. And as a testament to her work, some of the books she illustrated are still in print today. However, Walt convinced her to return in the early 60s to work on an attraction for the New York World's Fair. One of his partners was UNICEF and Pepsi, and they wanted a salute to children from all over the world. She would oversee the design of the pavilion from beginning to end. The product? It's a small world. Mary is all over that attraction. The graphic and geometric designs of the exterior, the bright and bold colors of the scenery, all of it was her doing, and it proved to be a success. It's a Small World was a huge hit at the New York World's Fair, with wait times reportedly being up to 3 hours long. And to this day, it continues to be a popular and enduring attraction. Even more remarkable is that the design happened in under a year's time. If you go on the ride today, keep your eyes open in the France section. You might be able to find a little doll modeled after Mary. Cut to a few years later, and Walt Disney World was starting to take shape. The resort would feature 2 hotels on opening day, the Polynesian Village Resort and the Contemporary Resort. Designed by Walt and Beckett, the resort was a showcase of state-of-the-art construction methods and design. The resort was built from a steel frame, and the rooms were literally plugged into place. And there's a monorail running right in the middle of it. Pretty cool stuff. But it needed that extra something. It had kind of a harsh design, just steel and concrete. Not very ideal for a family resort. So, they chose to employ super graphics. Super graphics are exactly what they sound like. Big graphics applied to the walls. This was a popular design choice in the 70s. If you've ever seen walls painted like this, those are super graphics. Putting one in the Contemporary would brighten things up a bit, make it more inviting and welcoming to guests who come and stay. And when it comes to bright and poppy designs, They knew just the woman for the job. Mary Blair had done some murals for the Disney parks. Tomorrowland at Disneyland used to feature not one, but 2 murals done by her. Sadly, you can't see them today. They were removed in the 80s. But it was nothing to this scale. Still, she accepted the job and got to work on the project. Her mural was designed after the Grand Canyon, giving it the name, the Grand Canyon Concourse. She took influence from different Southwest American art forms, the prehistoric petroglyphs, Pueblo paintings, Navajo sand paintings, and created an incredibly detailed and colorful piece of art. The mural features 18,000 hand-painted tiles. It depicts many aspects of Indigenous American life from a child's perspective. It's like the Small World scene that we never got in the ride. Her colors are vivid and bright, but not overpowering. Earth tones are complemented by yellows and reds, which are mellowed by grays and blues. She doesn't use pure colors. She mixes them ever so slightly. Red isn't just red, it's coral and orange. Green is chartreuse, avocado, or turquoise. There are so many different patterns, yet they don't clash. They work together as a unit. That's what she always did best, using colors in ways other artists wouldn't even think to do. Talking about art has always been difficult for me, so I can't even begin to describe it to you. There's no better way to show its beauty and wonder than just by showing it and letting it speak for itself. I think the most remarkable thing about it is where it sits. It isn't in a museum, it's in a hotel. Modern art can get a reputation as being scary or out of the ordinary or weird. I'm not saying that it can't be, but it can also be inviting and cozy. Millions of people have seen this mural and still remember it to this day. A writer for the Design Observer once called it the most viewed modernist mural in the world. If designs like these were in more public places, maybe people wouldn't be so distrustful of modern art. The tile pieces were shipped to Orlando on air suspension trucks and put together like a puzzle on the walls of the Contemporary. Blair told a journalist the following: "I walked into that giant concourse. My reaction was, oh wow." While the Contemporary has gone through many changes over the years, the mural hasn't changed a bit. It's still as brilliant and beautiful as ever. The best place to see it is from the Contempo Cafe, but really, it looks good from any angle. Also, if you want a scavenger hunt, try to see if you can find a goat with 5 legs. Mary Blair passed away in 1978, but her legacy continues to live on. So many artists are still inspired by her work. The animation world has always been kind of a boys' club, and only recently have women begun to get their dues and be represented behind the camera. They owe a lot to women like Mary Blair for helping pave the way, and making some amazing works of art in the meantime. And out of all that she did, the Grand Canyon Concourse is possibly her finest work. There really are no words to describe it. So, whether you're riding through the Contemporary on the monorail, or stopping in for breakfast at Chef Vicky's, take a moment or two to take it all in, and appreciate the work of a great artist. And that concludes the video. Now I'll pass the question off to you. What do you think of the mural? What is your favorite little part of it? What's your favorite art piece in the Disney parks? Whatever you're thinking, let me know down in the comments. If you'd like to support the show, please consider hitting up my Patreon or Ko-fi page. If not, then be sure to like and subscribe to see more of my stuff. But that's all the time I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.